So this is what the time tracker for the first quant section, which gives you 21 minutes to do 12 questions, will look like. On the x-axis, we will show the timer reading, what the GRE clock shows. So when you enter a quant section, the timer starts at 21 minutes for the first quant section, and then it runs downward to 0th minute. So that's what we will show. Some of those readings we are showing on the x-axis. The y-axis plots the number of questions attempted. We are not going to think too much about how my attempt was, whether I'm actually going to get this question correct or not. Thinking all of this is a distraction in the test. We should only focus on making sure that we have seen all the questions. We have attempted the questions. And in the attempt, what I mean is either you have selected your answer choice, input the answer, and you are fairly confident that's okay, or you have marked it for review. You read it and it totally went over your head, so right away you marked it for review. You read it, you attempted it some, didn't find your answer in the answer choices, so you marked it for review. Whatever it is, attempted includes both these possibilities, that you are very confident about your answer or you want to come back to it later. Both of these mean attempted, right? So all here we are going to track is how many questions have I actually read, seen, read, and done something about, made some decision about. Either that decision might be solving or that decision might be marking it for review. What this tracker is supposed to do is to help you mark questions for review sooner, right? So what therefore we are tracking is simply attempted questions. What we want is that I should have attempted all the 12 questions by the time the timer reads 3 minutes left. That's the goal. So in this manner, we will have some time left in the end to come back to the questions that seemed more tricky to us in the first pass, and then we can attempt them. Either all of them if there are only a few marked for review questions, but if let's say there are 4 questions and only 3 minutes are left, then I'll make a determination of which of those 4 seems more likely to be answered, and then based on that prioritization, I'll choose which questions to tackle in the 3 minutes remaining. But what this time tracker will definitely avoid is the situation that some rather easy questions towards the end of the quant section remained unseen because we spent too much time in an earlier question in the section, right? So that's what we want to avoid. All right, this is the time tracker, and how now, why have I highlighted the 12 and the 6? That's because this is a simpler version of the time tracker. I recommend that you create the entire tracker, and I'll shortly show you how to. But a simpler version of this tracker is simply to track that when the timer reads 12 minutes left, I should have attempted 6 questions. So what I am here saying therefore is that at the moment when I have 12 minutes left, the distance in the quant section that I have left to cover should only be of 6 questions. I should be at 6 questions left when I have 12 minutes left. That's the idea that I am illustrating with the highlighted numbers, right? So 6 questions attempted, timer reading 12 minutes. All right, so now let me quickly show you how you can recreate the time tracker in your own scratch paper in the test. So what you will do is you will first draw a triangle, then you will put a rectangle next to it, and now here you will, in the belly of the triangle, you will put 3 bars. At the rightmost horizontal vertex, you will put 3. At the first here, you will put 21. And at the midpoint of these two, the middle bar, you will put 12. Now, at the top of these bars, you will simply write the table of 3. So 3, 6, 9, and 12. And this is your time tracker. So once again, let's practice. So what you will do is you will put a triangle followed by a rectangle. Now you will put 3 bars in it. Here you will write 3, here you will write 21, and at the midpoint you will write 12. And now at the top of these bars, you just write the table of 3, and that's your time tracker. So this is the time tracker for the first quant section. How will the time tracker for the second quant section look like? Let's see. So the second quant section gives you 26 minutes to do 15 questions. So I'll shortly show you how to draw this time tracker in your scratch paper, but the highlighted numbers of 9 and 12 illustrate the same milestone marker that I showed you just now for the first quant section. So here also what we are saying is that at the time when I have 12 minutes left in the section, I want to be in a situation where I have a distance of only 6 questions to cover. I have only 6 questions to go. So here, because the total number of questions is 15, that translates into I should have done 9 questions when the timer reads 12 minutes, but you'll recognize that the idea is exactly the same. All right, so now let me show you how to create the time tracker quickly for the second quant section. So again, the basic idea is the same. So we will start by drawing a triangle followed by the rectangle. And this time, because the second quant section has more questions, we will put more bars. We will put 1 more bar. Earlier in the first quant section, we were putting just 3 bars. This time we are going to put 4 bars in the belly of the triangle. So now here I write 3. This time the 21, I'm still going to write 21, but I'm going to write it here in the first vertical bar. And like before, the 12 is here. And again, at the top of the bars, I write the table of 3, and that's that. So this is my time tracker for the second quant section. So once again, let's see how to quickly create it on your scratch paper. You start by drawing the triangle, you follow it with a rectangle. Now, because it's the second quant section, more questions, so more bars, 4 bars here. So 3, 21, 12, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. So this is our time tracker. So how can you use it to track your pacing in the quant section? This is how. I'll illustrate the idea for the second quant section, but the same idea holds for the first quant section as well. So where you should be when the timer reads 21 minutes. So here, of course, what we are leaving unstated is that starting value of 26 minutes that the timer reads when you have just entered the second quant section. So that we are going to omit. Doesn't need mentioning here. So, okay, so now when the timer reads 21 minutes, I should have done 3 questions as per my time tracker. Let's say I have actually done 4 questions. So now the vertical axis represents the number of questions attempted. So where will 4 come if 3 is at this height? It will come above. So this is where I am at. So I put a solid dot here. That's a rather happy scenario. I am doing much better than what I am even asking myself to do. So this is good. Now, let's say after that, at roughly the 17th minute mark, I am at question 7. I have done it. So I have just entered question 8. So I'll put a dot here. Then at question number 12, I have done 9 questions. So a slight drop in speed, but still I am on track. So let's say here I am. Then roughly at the 8th minute or the 7.5 minute, I am only done with 11th question. So now I need to be more careful. I am starting to slow down. So I should have been at 12. I am only at 11. And I finish the 15th question right when the timer says 3 minutes left. So I'm back on track. Or it could have been that when the timer still read 4.5 minutes left, I was already done with 15th question. In that case, I will show that here. So I am moving because this dot, the x-axis reading will show how much time is left. So I want to show that more time is left. So that's why I'm putting the dot here. So what this does is it gives me more time for the marked for review questions. So this is how I'll show. So the point of these dots that I'm tracking is that it gives me a sense of whether I am on target, which I will be if my dots are exactly coinciding with the numbers 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 at the respective milestones, or if I am doing better than needed, which is fabulous, or which is where the time tracker will actually be very useful if I'm lagging behind. So let's now take another scenario, and I'll show it here on the left-hand side time tracker. The alarming scenario. Let's say I sank too much time on the first two questions, and therefore at the time when the timer reads 21 minutes left, I have only attempted two questions. So it means this is where I'm at. Then I meant to pull up my speed and be quicker to mark for review, but I didn't actually do that. And so when the timer reads 17.5 minutes, I still was, so this was two questions, and I am lagging further behind, and I have only done this. So this is going to be three questions. So now it's getting urgent. I should quickly mark for review the next few questions. I am 3 questions behind target. Knowing this helps me not sink more time in any of the next 3 questions. So be very aggressive in marking for review. Knowing that I'm 3 questions behind will help me do that, will help me not get stuck on any one question. So if I'm consistently falling behind, that falling behind made visible by the time tracker will motivate me to not keep repeating the same mistake of getting sunk on questions, and will help me aggressively mark for review the next 1 or 2 questions that seem tricky. And let's say I do that, and here I've made up a significant ground, and I am at question number 8, which is rather good. And by this time, I'm back on track. So that's good. That's happy. And then maybe I proved lucky, and the last few questions were rather easy. So I actually managed to finish ahead of time. And now I can come back to those initial questions that between here, this milestone, between the 17th minute and the 12th minute, the questions that I had marked for review aggressively, now I'll have time to come back to them later. So this is how you can use the time tracker to pace yourself in the 2 quant sections. I hope this helps.